I actually was able to pull myself out of the depression because of scent. I would love to validate it psychologically, officially, scientifically. I'm working on that, but
that will take a while, right?
Yeah, it'll 100% take a while. But in the meantime, just having the ability to have people.
Where can they find out more about this?
So Tamar.com is my website. That's sort of why the brand name is Tamar.
Check it out.
Yes.
All right, let's move on to the SEO or SEM side of things. So I know you wanted to talk about the importance of making marketing not just about the broadcast, but about the relationship. So
yeah.
I like the way you wrote that. So
I mean, it's funny because I find myself in between the SEM world and the SEO world, and it's like, where do I put myself these days? And when I was depressed and trying to figure out who I was, I retreated from Twitter and we started talking again. I stopped posting. I didn't feel like I had a voice anywhere, to be perfectly honest. And coming back, I feel like I'm still part of that group, but at the same time, I'm trying to communicate a different way of. I don't know if it's a different way, but some people are I reached out to somebody recently. I won't say who. And I had said, listen, I just launched this new thing. He's like, you should be an SEO because you're so good at it. And I'm like, no, I'm not. But my story, it's an evolution. I worked in social media marketing in 2008, really back in 2007, 2008, when it was really starting to become it was in its infancy. And back then it was really all about writing good content and all about the broadcast, but not really understanding what happens after the fact. My experience was actually, it comes to Namecheap. In 2011, a competitor did something that was pretty egregious, and everybody wanted to go out and look into the competition. And I reached out to each individual person and I said, this is what we're doing to make a difference. And that was actually life-changing for me, because I realized that it wasn't about to that point, I was always here, try this thing. And, it was about the broadcast. But when I started having this ongoing conversation with literally over 18 hours with hundreds, maybe thousands of people, I appreciated that so much more. And I said, and then they started coming to me and they approached me as a human, and it became the brand became a little more human. And I said, I don't want to do this social media marketing broadcast anymore. And I actually forced my position to change. And I said, we need people to liaise and to be the voice of the customer. And I think that becomes marketing. I felt for a while, and maybe even now, companies aren't so receptive to the fact that it needs to be I own realtimeemail.com. It's more of a resume, but I did run that for a while where I was always responding to people almost in real time, and it was customer service stuff. I think that customer service is really a great intersection between service, sales, and marketing. And a lot of people are, behind the scenes or in the social media space, it's all about the broadcast, but it's not about the engagement. And the engagement for me, I think, is what makes me excited about marketing and everything else.
If I understand what you're saying, and I'm kind of like that too, with respond to emails immediately.
Yeah, I know that.
And it was always a thing when I had a salesperson working for me when I was owning a different business, another business, which I don't own anymore. But basically, it was do I want to respond fast, or do I want to respond with the most detailed possible responses as possible? And my opinion has always been respond as quickly as possible, obviously no typos and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But I think the customer appreciates a faster response than maybe a more detailed response. In fact, they don't want to read a long email.
Right.
In my opinion. So
yeah,
I'm kind of like that. And the question is, you need to do the broadcast to initiate that relationship, right?
Yeah, but so at that point I was still doing the broadcast, and then it evolved, and then somebody else took that over, and I continued with the relationship side. And that's when I said, my role has evolved there. I'm doing that in forums like Reddit and some of the webmaster forums, and it's
still social media. It's just engaging more with the individual.
It's all about engagement. It's not about let's go out there and
it's true,
throw your message, because what's the point? I mean, you need to make it stick, and if you make it stick, it's about talking to the customer and making them realize that they are actually it's important to me. Every single person is important to me who I talk to.
So the thing that I think I need to learn from with this is that I'm really good with engaging in relationships on email and on Twitter, somewhat on Facebook. I'm horrible on LinkedIn. Not so good on the forums and the social media like Reddits and stuff like that. Those more forum-based types of things. I used to be really good at that. So I guess it's like you have to make an outline of.
It's hard.
You have to make an outline of where you need to improve, what you need to do, because there's only so much time in the day.
Yeah,
The relationship building online is much more time consuming.
So I'm starting to do that, coming back into the fray. I use every single social network differently than others. So like, Facebook, I will make big announcements, but I will engage regularly in groups and in other people's comments. I will not do anything more than that. On LinkedIn, I'm starting to do it, a little bit of posting, but it's about LinkedIn is kind of easy, but it's also hard. You have to give back. You won't be able to get without giving back. So it's about engaging on some of your people's comments, like just even, and I don't know if I should say this because some of the LinkedIn purists might hate me, but like they might also agree with me that like if you just say like great post on somebody's post, all of a sudden it's like, woo! Twitter's sort of the same way too. Like it's funny because I took a hiatus for 6 years?
Yeah, you weren't so active on Twitter.
I wasn't active. Now I'm trying. I'm trying. And it's about,
I missed you on Twitter, so.
You missed it on Twitter?
Yeah.
Oh, that's good. Thank you. Then coming back and then, it's all about engaging and giving. You don't have to give so much time. Like LinkedIn, you can do like 5 or 6 posts.
LinkedIn's easy. It's all those LinkedIn people. It's easy.
I don't know if it's easy,
it's
but
easy. She's saying it's easy.
I'm not saying it's easy. I'm saying it's
easier.
Easier. You don't have to overthink the response, and liking things won't make a difference. But when it comes to when it comes to social, you definitely need to give somehow.
Okay.
To get back.
So let's move on because people have no attention span on YouTube.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
You want to talk a little? Can you talk a little bit about your efforts in marketing for the Fund Me around this? Like any challenges you saw, any tips you might have?
So I'm using iFund Women right now, and the reason why I did that over Kickstarter is because it is mission-based. It's the right time. It's unfortunately, I think Kickstarter is more for frivolous purchases, and I don't know if you want to be doing that in the middle of a pandemic. So I want to talk about that. That I think is an important consideration for me. I mean, things were very different because I expected things to be very different. COVID was not supposed to happen. I had a plan of like creating 100 bottles of each fragrance, and I was going to send them to PR people. Then this happened, and I didn't even touch my bottles for a long time because I didn't want to potentially give them COVID or anything like that. Then finally, I'm like, you know what? I have to actually do this. And I said, you know what I need to do is I'm going to shift my gears, and I'm going to have an early bird option where you can buy people who support me early. And unfortunately, this is no longer available, but people who supported me early are going to get one of the bottles that I would have otherwise allocated to the media. And I felt like that's important because I want to help people in the moment and not wait. And especially people who are supporting me, like they deserve that. But yeah, I mean, that obviously changed the game here. In terms of the media, I mean, there were challenges, 100% challenges. I think the biggest challenge that I had is that I expected a little more positive reception in the beginning, but of course I'm competing with a pandemic. And the second thing is that I am also competing. Well, I launched like 6 days before George Floyd's passing, unfortunately. And like I had some people who were potentially interested in the story, and they're like, you know what, the world has sort of changed and I can't really address your story anymore. So there's struggles. And then I wrote this like really, really detailed essay about like the trauma that I went through on Medium, and I was ready to like post this and get it out there. And it was interesting. I felt like this could be like maybe the thing that would be the impetus. And then I got feedback that it was too commercial. And meanwhile, when I posted it, nobody converted.
I don't think it was
commercial at all. Yeah. So, I mean, you don't anticipate these things. I think right now, the important thing is continuing to be vulnerable in my content. I'm very, very vulnerable to a fault. Things that I haven't shared with other people, I'm sharing in my social. Not so much my personal, but my brands. This is a little bit of a hybrid because I want to make this brand a human brand from the start.
Hence Tamar.com.
Yes. But I don't know. That really wasn't the plan. I wasn't planning on calling it Tamar.
Right.
And then I was like at my Thanksgiving dinner.
It's easy to spell. It's short.
It's easy to spell, and I get to teach people how to pronounce it. Because there's also Tamar Braxton, and I don't want to.
Win-win right there.
Yeah. But it was sort of a random thing, and I was like, I have the website. I might as well make it happen. So, another thing that I think is important is that, the networking. I think networking is really important. I ask if anybody is listening to this and has like somebody you think you can introduce me to, The networking, I think, is the biggest thing right now. I mean, I'm working bootstrapped out of savings on a less than shoestring budget. So I'm trying to get very creative in terms of my marketing. It's not the same, I could optimize my website, but like people aren't looking for this because there's an education to this. There's an education play.
I do know a few people. After, just shoot me an email. I will connect you with who I know, and if they choose to ignore you, that's up to them.
Yeah.
But I'll make that. You guys should make that connection for her as well, for your connections.
Please.
It's helping a lot of people, and it's a great idea. Any event, how could people learn more about you, connect with you, reach out to you about these connections?
Yeah, sure. So you can follow me on Twitter @Tamar, Instagram @Tamar. The brand name is @Tamar Essences, Tamar.com, LinkedIn, Tamar Weinberg.
Not TikTok?
I have Tamar WE on TikTok, I think.
I don't know, I'm just joking.
But
it's not going to be around in a month because President Trump's going to go ahead and ban it unless Microsoft buys it.
VPNs, baby.
VPNs. Awesome. Very much. Thank you so much for doing this. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
Virtual handshake. Or just socially distant handshake. All right, that was Tamar. Long history with her. Amazing person. You should really, really check her out at Tamar.com. Hook her up. She's great. She's really, really caring, really giving person. And it was a really interesting interview. Hope you liked it. And we're off. I have to make a quick phone call, so I'll hopefully jump back on and tell you a little bit more. On the road, about 25 minutes back to get back to where I was. Call went fine. In any event, it was good catching up with Tamar. It's always weird, especially, specifically because of COVID, how close you should be next to the person. Hopefully the camera setup worked out well. It actually just started raining, so I'm glad I missed the rain. But it was good to get out and good to catch up with her and see she's doing well and her family is doing well. Yeah, so hopefully the camera setup works well. We'll see how the editing goes. And if you have any comments or feedback or ways to make it better, definitely let me know. And don't forget, subscribe, hit that notification bell, and feel free to leave comments below to tell me what you think we could do to make it even better. Thank you.